And did you go to college in South Florida, or did you go elsewhere?
I went to community college here in Miami, but I actually quit pretty quickly. I started working full time almost at 17, 18 years old. I got into the IT industry, and at that point,
IT industry.
IT, and at that point, it's from a perspective as far as career development, it made more sense to go after a few certifications and get the work experience than it did to go to school. So I actually I got to my 2-year degree, and I kind of just let it go there.
Well, honestly, even at this day and age, I mean, if you're going to go to school for liberal arts, I don't know what the benefit is. You still have to go out and get that, outside of it, unless you're going to a Harvard or, a Stanford or a Michigan where you can, meet the people. I mean, there's really, I think about this all the time because I've got 4 kids and they're getting to that age, they're going to start high school here in a few years, and you start looking at the justification of educational costs versus, what's the payoff at the back end. Yeah. Unless you're going to school to be an engineer or something very specific, doctor, lawyer, liberal arts anymore. I don't know what the benefit is besides getting, like you said, real work experience. So that's cool. That's cool to hear. What kind of stuff did you do in IT?
So I started off working for a bank, and originally it was actually my baseball coach that hired me.
Sure.
Because I used to keep the stats for the team, Excel, and keep all the batting averages and ERAs and all that. And this is back in the early 90s, when it was really most of the banks, at least in the industry I had a lot of experience with, all the banks were moving off of mid-range or mainframe computers and trying to, everybody had dumb terminals at their desktops, so there were no PCs.
Right.
So I got in kind of at the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got in at the right time where I was just kind of helping them, just as a PC guy, nothing crazy. But little by little, that bank started growing. And I was there to sort of, grow along with it.
Yeah.
And the reason I left college, it got to the point where they needed somebody full time.
Right.
And so I had to make the decision, okay, so do I pursue this? And, say I spend 4 years in college and I come out with a degree, I can't really work here. Where am I going to be at the end of those 4 years, or where am I going to be after 4 years working here?
Right.
Yeah. And it ended up that I went into consulting right after, maybe 3 years, 4 years down the road. I mean, I had a pretty nice run consulting for a while, and I got a lot of experience and much better money than if I would have stayed in school.
So was that your own company when you were doing the computer consulting?
A little bit of both. I went with a company, and I worked for a consulting company. They actually a company we hired at the original place I worked.
Right.
They hired me they hired me from there, and I worked with them for a while, and then I went off on my own for a couple of years.